Welcome, welcome, welcome once again to another edition of Making a Difference. It's yours truly, Michael Norman, and this broadcast is brought to you by the good folks at NPG. They're concerned about your destiny, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into the conversation, let me ask of you, if you would please, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. That helps the algorithms to provide recommendations for future viewers. So if you would do that for me, we would be so grateful. Now, it is inevitable that we're all going to have to face our mortality. No one likes to discuss that, and I understand it. But here's the one thing that we all must, at some point, give consideration to. What are we going to leave as a legacy for our children and our children's children? We're talking about today, we're going to talk about generational wealth, how you can plan and prepare for that. Wealth and success is not a matter of coincidence, it's not a matter of chance, but actually a matter of choice. And of course, I've got my cohorts with me as we discuss the matter today in the person of Chris and of John Paul, going to be with us in just a moment. Chris Lopez, John Paul Toth, and we're going to be talking about developing generational wealth, how to prepare for the future. And of course, in our past conversations, we've been talking about how that through buy term and invest the difference provides you with the opportunity to become the master of your financial future, that you don't have to rely upon the whims of insurance company and any other banks or things of that nature, that you can literally take your finances by the horn and control your own financial destiny. So let's get into the conversation. I'm going to bring the guys in and let's get to talking about this matter in the person of course, Chris Lopez, John Paul Toth. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, how's it going?
How you doing today?
I'm on top, rising fast.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
So, one of the things that we love to talk about, of course, is how we can help people in terms of making a difference. That's always been the objective. That's the mantra. That's the North Star. And today we want to deal with further how we can assist in helping them develop a plan and a procedure for their financial destiny so that it can impact not only their lives, but their children's lives. We're talking about generational wealth. So today, I want to start with recognition. As you know, I'm a pastor, and so everything is going to always have some sort of biblical undertone. But it does say something very interesting in terms of a wise and a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. So my take on that is it's even in God's desire for us that we leave an inheritance and not an invoice. So we have to posture ourselves in a way that when we are ultimately passed away, or for instance, like we like to say, you live longer than you expect. How are you going to take care of yourself in that in the event that happens? So, Chris, you want to kind of tip the do the tip off, get the basketball rolling.
Yeah, right. No. uh, Listen, generational wealth. First of all, the question is which generation, right?
Hmm.
Are you the grandparent? Are you the parent? Or are you the child, right? What generation is starting this? I like to tell people all the time that you cannot make a plan unless you know who's in the plan,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
if you're in your 50s, you're planning for someone else, not you. Follow me? Not you. Because you're creating this generation wealth. You
Hmm.
will be gone and it'll be left for someone else. And that's where people they can't get their mind around that. And they have to start learning how to get their mind around that. I am preparing ultimately for my demise, my when I perish, I'm going to be leaving something for my children and my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren. So it's a mindset. And the first thing they have to learn is their own finances and what it is that they're trying to achieve. Uh, Do we understand that so far?
I think we do. You know,
What are we trying to achieve?
so it's a
Because if you
question
don't,
of
yeah,
what's again, biblical reference.
yeah,
Without a vision, the people perish. That simply means not that you're going to die ultimately, but what it actually speaks to is that without a vision, we live a loose life, and we're kind of like that ship out on the sea without a sail, and we're tossed to and fro by the winds and the waves and things of that nature, without a real clear, pinpoint, accurate destination or destiny. Then we're
uh-huh,
subject to whatever happens in the old French song, "Que sera sera," what will
yeah.
be will be. You know, and I don't think that that's really the intention for our lives. That we should have some sort of intentionality about what it is
Mhm.
we're going to do, be, and have. What do you think?
Well, it's not that our intention is why do we care, right? Think about this. Just close your eyes and visualize your children and what when you're gone, what is going to happen to them?
Hmm.
Why do you care? You are not here. And if you did care, why didn't you start when they were born?
Hmm. Hmm. Well,
Now, now, so understand me, just understand this. But now I know I can do something. That's why I care.
mhm,
Because now I know I can do something about it.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So
so it's
now that
not.
I know, notice how I'm just trying to get my mindset first. That's the
Hmm.
goal, my
Hmm.
mindset. Because without that, anything you plan is just going to fall to the side. Isn't that what happens when you go on vacation? Right? You make these plans. Well, I never got around to that. Well, because
Right.
it didn't mean anything to you, right?
No,
So
it
you
didn't
have to get
have
the
any point.
mindset.
So it has to have some level of urgency in order
Hmm.
for you to even, like you
Exactly,
say,
right
care.
here first. It
Hmm.
has to be here first. Why
And
do I care? I love my children. I want to make sure that I made a difference in their lives. I brought them into this world. Shouldn't I make a difference in their world? Right?
I
So,
think, are we
so,
morally responsible to do that?
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So the point here is that now that I've got that frame of reference up here, and I know I can now do something about it, what are the actions I can take? Well, what is the goal? Is the goal to make them wealthy within a generation or make them what I call a stepping stone into a wealthy family generational income? And it
Mhm.
has to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So why not with your children?
Well, I think that's again the way that we change generational cycles. When we talk about cycles that exist from generation to generation,
Yeah.
basically it's not some outside force that's working against them as much as it's an inside job, because you can only pass down that which you know and you understand. And if that's limited, then you can only hope that those you pass it down to will be subject to those same limitations.
Don't you pass down your anger? You do, huh? Right? Think about it.
Uh-huh.
I worked all my life. I have this, I have that. Go get your own. You pass that down to your generation to generation to generation. That's like these families always work. They always have to work. They always have to. Why? Because my parents had to. My parents gave me nothing. You pass down that anger. That's why, like I said up here, this has to stop, right? Look, I brought them in. Let's take care of it. Let's make sure. Let's give them the words of wisdom and the love that they need to understand the fact that we take care of those we bring into this world. So I'm going to do this, son and daughter. We're going to create a nice UDMA account for you, right? We're going to do a nice Roth IRA for you. We're going to teach you how to do the $50 a month or the $100 a month. We're going to teach you how to pay yourself first. I'm paying myself, but I'm going to teach you how to pay yourself first. And this way, by the time it's time for you to retire, you're only going to use the dividends of this income. And then when you pass, those dividends get paid to your great grandchildren. And now that's even more money because it's actually growing over time because that grandchild had been putting in money since they were born. And
Hmm.
so it gets actually put together now. And then the great grandchildren was putting money together when they were born. And
Hmm.
now that gets compounded and we're only living off of dividends. So if that's the case, this money's growing from 1 million to 2 to 4 to 8. And if that's the case, by the time your grandchildren comes around, 4, 6, $8,000 a month, they could withdraw without ever touching the income. Now it's not a choice of what job do I have to go get, is what do I want to do?
I like that.
Now I'm going to be doing things I want to do because the income is there.
I
I
like
can
that.
now make a difference. I could become a doctor. I
Hmm.
could go ahead and become something without having to get that job over at the Walmart or the Wawa or the Starbucks, or because I could study, because there's money that's going to pay these bills so I could study and get the better thing going. So this way I could even start my own business with this money and then compound this wealth on top of this and teach my children how to pay themselves first, because that's what I'm still doing. Before you know it, within 3 generations, you have a wealthy family.
Mm.
It starts up here.
Everything starts with the mind. Your mindset
Yep.
affects your assets. Your
Yep.
mentality affects your reality.
Exactly.
Words I live by. Let's get
Yep.
brother JP in here.
Yeah.
I got all clergy on you there, JP. Brother JP, come on in and add your 2 cents to this conversation, because I heard you say this was a while when we first came on to NPG. You were telling someone how that they could retire their child, their young child, and that stuck with me to this day.
And Michael, what we're talking about is building generational wealth for our kids. But if you're trying to build generational wealth for your kids, shouldn't you have learned yourself how to build wealth for yourself? That's key number one.
Mm-hmm.
Putting together a financial plan, a financial roadmap, we call it our FIN number, your financial independence number for yourself. Then now you have a plan on where you're going to go. And you're right, Michael. You did bring up an idea about retire your child. When I learned that 22 years ago, that was something I did for my son because I didn't have it done for me because my parents didn't know. So now I can take the knowledge that was given to me and utilize that as a benefit to retire my child. So, like Chris was just leading to, you don't have to settle for that job at the Walmart. Now you can go, example, I have a 25-year-old that's deciding he wants to go back to college. Think about that. Going back to college. Not, so he has a choice because he's not burdened with having to go to a job. So now he can build the life that he wants for himself as long as he puts the work in. And I think that's part of success is you having the ability to do what you want to do. But most people don't know because their brain isn't thinking about what they want to do. It's thinking about what they have to do to get those bills paid. So, I mean, I think building generational wealth is so important to be taught from a parental standpoint so you can feed that information to your children of why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like that the idea of training our children. Number one, because we've all kind of bought into this job. Nothing wrong with having a job. Thank God for those. If you got one, you might want to hold on to it for at least to make for as long as you can. But we bought into the whole myth idea that our jobs were going to be the source of our prosperity. And you have a very interesting acronym for jobs, because you understand that the jobs were not designed to bring us into financial independence. As you were talking about the FIN number, your financial independence number, JOB it does not equate to FIN. And talk about that a little bit.
You know, Unfortunately, we've been taught our whole life because our parents taught us go to school, get good grades, then get a good job. And we expect that job to provide for the now, that we have to pay the bills. And then we expect that job to be able to provide for the future. But job stands for just over broke. It just pays you enough so you don't quit. You have to be a participant in that job. And I never knew that acronym till 22 years ago when I was like, wow, that makes total sense.
It does.
And most people that have a job, they don't look at it that way. They look at it as I do this job and they're not thinking about the future, but they need to have a plan for the future. They just don't know how.
Yeah.
And they
And
think their
feel
401ks will be enough. They think those 401ks will be enough. The fourth, whatever plan they thought they had was going to be enough. But what happens when they turn 65 and it's not enough?
that part.
What's the solution?
What is the solution? Let me bring Chris in to talk to that 401k issue, because you have some very interesting points of view as to what that actually represents for the individual. Let me turn your mic on. My bad. There you go.
No, I'm not. Are you there?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. So I go. This is a story of my life. I get called it at the last minute, right? I'm always the last option, right? I'm 65. What do I do? Let's call him, right? Folks, you're 65 and you don't have enough money. You're going to die. You're going to die, okay? Everyone out there, just understand this. If you don't have money, you're going to die, okay? Because food costs money, heat costs money, shelter costs money, okay?
Indeed.
You're going to die, okay? So at 65, and you're getting this little income called Social Security, and it's not enough. What are you going to do? You can't quit, but at the same time, if you're getting Social Security, that means you have quit, right? Or they've quit you. Your job no longer needs you. Goodbye, John. It's been great knowing you. Take care. Pat on the back. Here's the watch. And all of a sudden, Social Security, right? And it's not enough. What do you do? Well, the point is, you're not dead. You've got to do something. And you've got to take control of this situation. So you've got to find something that's going to make you some income without disrupting the Social Security or the pension or whatever it is that's also coming in. That's like you have to take control of the situation and start a business. You have to take control and start a business. I don't care what business. Be a notary, be a real estate, be something to have the secondary income that's a 1099 income. So therefore, the 1099, you get paid differently. You get the money, you can actually write certain things off on your taxes because it's a 1099 business. And then if you're able to balance it out, it doesn't affect your Social Security. But once again, some of these things that you use, like your clothing, your cell phone, your internet, because if this is a real estate business, aren't you doing things over the internet? So these little bills that you have to pay are being taken care of by that little 1099 job. A $400 a month income to pay $400 a month in bills, doesn't that mean 400 extra dollars for groceries? Right? That's what you've got to do. When it's coming to that point, it's too late for me to do this for myself. Then you have to find something you can do by sitting in front of something called a laptop or an iPad and having a job somewhere, a notary or something that has some income coming in for you. Now, if you're not in your 60s and you're in your mid 50s, then you are working. And don't quit your job. You're just over broke is exactly that, a just over broke. That's exactly what it is. Okay. But for you to do something better, you've got to do something else. You've got to do something else, not quit anything. You've got to add. And the only way that works is something on your terms, something that you could do on your schedule, something that you can do when you can do it. And how many of those are there out there? So you have to find something or create something or be a part of something that would allow you to do that. And that's how come we tell people in our company we make a difference while making a difference. We teach you how these financial concepts work and give you the opportunity on a part-time basis on your schedule to make this extra income. So therefore you can take care of these things. And then that extra income becomes your life saver, not your lifeboat, your life saver. Because that extra $400 or $500, I'm sorry, but last time I checked, $500 was my grocery bill Sunday. That's what it was, folks. My grocery bill on Sunday was $500. Okay? And that's because I have kids, obviously, right? So imagine you're retired. Your Social Security's coming in, and you're only getting what $1,800 a month, maybe $2,000. Well, with the light and where you live and the insurance and your car insurance, all this stuff, now you're down to about $300 to eat. I'm sorry, but an extra $300-400 would actually make a huge difference, right?
Could save a life.
That's why we make a difference while making a difference.
I like the idea because again, you bought into the mission, the crusade, as it were, to help make a difference for people's lives who are literally at this point, man, we're really in a predicament where we need some help right away. We need something that's going to radically impact the destiny of our lives and bring us into a place of wealth and prosperity. JP, I know that it's such a very passionate part of you because you join on with this mission, the NPG mission or the crusade. Tell us what is it that has made you so committed to, carrying out the crusade, carrying out the mission?
Michael, 22 years ago, when I learned principles that I never heard of, I was 32. So I went to college. I got a degree. I was working. And I never heard about financial principles that could help me. I never heard that. And when I was learning, my dad was living on Social Security, and his Social Security check was $575 a month. I mean, Chris just said he bought groceries on Sunday for that. I'm thinking my dad lived on that. But through the years, I said, if I keep on doing what I'm doing, that is what I was going to be. So when I looked at the crusade 22 years ago, I said, if I could just make an extra $200 a month, or even sometimes even $500 a month, like Chris was leading to, what would that do to my life? And I kept it part-time. I was a waiter waiting tables at a steakhouse 22 years ago. And I started this opportunity part-time until it replaced that income. And then when I felt comfortable enough with this part-time opportunity, then I went a little bit further and it became more of a full-time opportunity. But as I began to read and learn and study things about licenses that we have to obtain, I got to learn about what Social Security was created for back then. It actually stands for, if you don't know what it is, let me just tell you, it's called the Old Age Survivors and Disability Income Program. And it was created not so you could live solely on it. It was to be an offset from your normal retirement. And it says right here, it says for too many individuals, Social Security remains the primary source of retirement income. And my dad was utilizing that as his primary source. but it says it was never designed to be the sole source and should be thought of as a supplement to funds created in retirement plans such as IRAs and 401k plans. I don't think we're taught that. I think we're taught the bare minimum so that we depend on the government. And that's what drives me every day to utilize the mission and the crusade of what we have at New Power Generation is to make a difference oh my God, I got a text over Thanksgiving and it was from a friend of mine who I helped, and now they're millionaires. Okay, it's just awesome, and I helped them through the last 8 years to become that. But thank God that was the mission. But they text me and said, "We are so thankful that you came into our life." That was worth all the time I put in the last 22 years just to hear someone say that to me. Not about you sold me an investment. No, it was about you changed my life,
Yeah.
and now they're financially independent. And because of the knowledge that I have received in 22 years, I have applied it. So I didn't just come and do the work. I took the knowledge and I got myself a Roth IRA. I got myself, my son, an UGMA account. I got my wife a Roth IRA. I have a tax-free fund. I have a life insurance policy. So I applied all the principles, and because I applied them to my own life first, my wife and I will be financially independent in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I will never need Social Security ever.
That's a blessing. That's a real
And-
blessing.
And everyone deserves the same thing, don't they?
The opportunity to bring themselves to a place where they don't have to depend on anybody outside themselves to provide. And then the beauty of it is you literally put a time in the future where this is going to happen, all things remaining as they are. But providing no wars break out in some catastrophic disease, But it's a beautiful thing to be able to say everything is going to be fine. We're working, and there's something to be said for deferred gratification or delayed gratification. There's something to be said about that.
Hmm. Now, we've been talking about generational wealth, right?
Mhm.
And I brought up the fact that it's your mindset, but and it's about your children. But at the same time, if you're in your 50s, you probably still have parents,
Yes,
and those parents have to be taken care of as well.
That
absolutely.
is true.
So yeah, so it's one thing that you have your children, but you still have your parents. That's why this is a family conversation.
Mhm.
This is something that you talk with your children and your parents, because for the family to achieve this, it has to be a family,
Yeah.
not one person, a family getting together and agreeing what's important.
Mhm.
For example, I grew up, and I love telling people, in the poor side of town. I grew up in East LA. Okay,
Oh,
my
yeah.
family's from Fresno. What do you think they did? They picked grapes. Okay, my grandparents were the mayors of the city of Biola. Sounds important, but you don't know what the city of Biola looks like, do you?
Yeah.
Right?
No, I
And there
don't.
has to be a mayor. So, all 22 people, right, that are there, because it's all farmland and grapes, and they lived in the city because they give them a home, and this way they have a place to actually pick the grapes at. Since they lived there, they became the mayor because they're the residents, right? Not
Mhm.
the owners. The owners own the land, but they don't live there. So
Right.
they became the mayor, right? So the reason I'm sharing this with you, so you'll understand something, is that they were broke the entire time. My parents passed, they were broke. I had to live with my aunt and uncles because my grandparents were broke. See, if someone had taught them anything, I would have lived in East Los Angeles broke, right?
Yeah.
But because something in this brain told me this isn't the way it's supposed to be, this isn't why we're here. Okay. I don't know what it was. Mickey talking to me, I think. But turning around and saying, stop this nonsense, change things forever. So just in my lifetime, I was able to alter that course where none of my children ever had a name tag, ever. And I did it in my lifetime.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
never wore a name tag, never worked for anybody, don't have to do anything. I was proud of the fact that my older son, I called him my bum. He's a professional skateboarder, bum. Okay, but I love the fact he is. Well, you know why? Because to me, right, I succeeded. I got one of my sons to do something that they've always wanted to do and not have to worry about money. Okay,
Yeah.
and he lives off this money that he gets from me because of what we were able to create in his lifetime. You can't tell me it can't be done. It's here. It's here. What's important to you? It's here. And you, as a family, can get together and talk with the parents, talk with your children, and start making this plan. Mom, Dad, I know you need help. Why don't you move in? Stop paying for this. Sell that house. Move in with us for a little while, right? We'll get this money. We'll put it in a nice mutual fund. We'll start putting money away for the kids. I'll start putting money away for my retirement. Since you're living here, why don't you answer some emails for me? Do this. Help me with my side part time thing I'm doing. So we have a little bit of income coming in. So therefore, you can have some extra money to buy Christmas presents and stuff, right? And then we're going to pool this money together and use it. So therefore, the kids can go forward and have something better, right? So they can actually go and excel somewhere and not have a job, but a career and get their difference because we've taught them and what they need to live on and what that excess money is. So going and buying things, you buy something of value like a mutual fund that's going to make you money. Okay. So then you've got this thing making you money within this family. By the time I have a grandchild, that grandchild's outcome is going to be significantly better than what my parents' outcome is.
Hmm.
And that's done in one generation.
Powerful.
And that's
Powerful.
what you've got to start doing. You've got to start talking about these things. That's
I
the
I agree.
mentality of what it is we are and what we are not talking about.
Well, it
And
brings
that's
it
why
back
you
to the
all have to
family.
understand that.
I like what you said, having this kind of conversation with the family so that they understand this is something for us. It brings an awareness and the family back to the forefront. But listen, we're out of time for this particular project, but the conversation continues on the next one. So make sure you click the like button and subscribe to this channel because we are helping to make a difference while making a difference. I don't know if you were listening, but there are three messages involved in there. One of which, of course, in your eventual morbidity, every one of us is going to die at some point. So be prepared for that. But then, what about those who live longer than they anticipated? How will they be cared for? How will they be taken care of, financially speaking? And then a third one is, of course, well, there's an opportunity there for you to change the very trajectory of your life through an opportunity with this company, NPG, that will help you get armed, equipped, trained so that you can do the same for many and then be blessed so you can get into that 1099 bracket where you can make that money on your own and take advantage of all of the tax breaks that comes with it and eventually build gradually here a little there a little and you build your way right into financial independence. We'll talk a little bit more about it on our next broadcast, and if this has been a blessing to you, please again make sure that you click the like button. That's the one with this thumbs up. Make sure you click that. And then, of course, subscribe to the channel and click the notification button so that you will not miss not a single episode. Chris, if you can give them a number that they can call and get this thing started, I know they're excited about the possibility of making a difference or preparing for generational wealth. What's a number they can call and get the ball started. I lost your microphone. I think your mic is still out.
They can always call us directly at 407-256-2778, or they can go to our company website, which is www.newpowergeneration.us.
Say that one more time. What's the telephone number and the website?
Telephone number 407-256-2778, or our company website, which is www.newpowergeneration.us.
And we will take care of you and get you started in the road that will lead to financial prosperity. We're talking about generational wealth, and it is not just for a select few, it's for everyone. But as Chris says, it starts right here.
Yeah.
Your mindset affects your assets. We'll talk a little bit more about it in our next broadcast. Thank you for joining us here on Making a Difference. Again, click the like button and subscribe. Tell a friend, share this channel. If it's blessed you, it'll bless them as well. All right, we'll see you next time. Blessings.